My story with my father, who did everything bad. I am a 31-year-old since I was a child, and I have been marginalized by my family. Who looked at me to live by accident. And for the knowledge that I am the middle between a girl and a boy older than me and a son younger than me. I used to notice that discrimination. Announced by my father and my mother, despite my young age. Since that time, hatred began to be generated inside me on my father and brothers, so I rebelled against them. All they like is that I did not like this, and I did not reach point 10 years later, so my mother punished me by preventing me from eating and standardizing me, and you challenge me. What I hate is to show her extreme fear for her children, and her blatant bias in everything but my father and I. Since I had 5 years I discovered that he does not love me or my brothers, except in front of people. His love appears only when he sees this civilized person who does not distinguish between boys and girls. But if she feels between us that we have given birth only for the sake of people I used to watch every small and big behaved up bought for us, or my mother for example, the clothes of I'd the last to see her, so that we until it appeared to them how generous he was. When I reached 11, I started to appear on the features of hatred, so I became hostile to everyone who entitles him to approach me, so my family hated me, even I became unable to stand them, so what I fear edited publicly, so the discrimination became their slogan. They don't buy clothes for me to go to school, so I walked with a torn sharpness in the winter, so I was always ashamed of my friends, so I was born with a boat of lack, especially my father, who started to disavow his responsibilities as soon as we take our house and away. About the people he did what he likes as cut us to eat, and the biggest one did not reach 14 under the pretext that we grew up and no longer responsible for us at the time. I made sure that all my bodies became real about this man to go after that of my mother, who seems to be just pretending, so I got many diseases due to neglect and lack of food, so she was in pain edited with her in silence. And I can't bear as my younger sister got diabetes, did not cure her, and let us beg every bastard for that damn injection at that time. I realized that I grew up enough when I was still a teenager, so I did not shut up, and I was crying out for its disadvantages and calibrations, and of course I ate all the severe beatings, and I promised him that I would make his life a living as he ruined my childhood for no reason, so he tarnished my reputation in front of his relatives. I am naughty and a dog, because everyone is afraid of contacting me, but in my wake, I am a mockery, thanks to the enemy that gave birth to my back passing, and did not spend 1 dirham, so my mother went to my uncle's, so she worked for them for a certain period, and gave her the tip my girl in it, and give me a share of it to buy booklets and study supplies, after that hard burden of education on my older sister, which was stopped by my father against her excuses, citing the security conditions, and this is her observation of my change in my permanent disorder, so I took pity on me and coveted me to become one day a worker ward known late. I once entered into a dialogue with my father, and promised that if I succeeded and got a job, I will not give him a penny, even if he cut my head, and I was successful when the promise succeeded in the baccalaureate, and I entered the same year, and did not cost the same university on the day he gave me a penny, or asked me about college residency like my colleagues' parents did. I wish I was dead to be relieved of this disease and obsession, but it went beyond me to buy medicine for my mother and sister from the cheap university scholarship that doesn't even buy a shoe. So I made friends with the college girls, and they seemed to discover my deprivation. My father appears first of all in my behavior. They give me their clothes and all that I need without spoiling me like my parents did to me. My studies went back to hell. I started the workshop looking for work like a treasure search I've always waited for, but I bumped into the reality of my father's bitterness in everything, which is discrimination and injustice. Finally I found a job, but with a small wage from here began to suffer other and began to ask me to spend on the house or give him money, so I was rejecting this, and that was not a love of money, but in response to what he was doing, he started as punishment. The other one would cut off everything and put pressure on my sick mother and my diabetic sister imposed, but I was forced to eat, but and all they need is hidden, and so I reached 28, and I took a look at my friends, all the foundations of life, but I am still with my son-in-law, and the fact that I carry some kind of hatred towards men, they are in my opinion like my father. although I realized in my decisions that I am wrong, but I decided to establish life, and I accepted one of them. I accepted one of them to come to me, and then I discovered that I have to help financially at least, so that I do not look displaced in the eyes of this man, to find myself again alone, and I found myself. I remained trapped in my past and my dreaded present. My father, my number one enemy in life. I want to get rid of my hatred. I want to forget this man who did not stop this. When we reached the age of marriage, he did not leave a reaction except to do it, and he was applying to our speeches and asking for my brothers and sisters. Without returning, I realized that this dreaded man is our destiny in our lives, and it did not stop at me at work, where everyone makes fun of me at work. As soon as they know that I am his daughter, I hated myself and hated life. How much I wished I had the audacity to commit suicide, or get a chance from a faraway country to go back to it. But it seems that life has also narrowed me, and will not give me time to get me out of her hell, so she can no longer bear my tragedy, and my mood and my confusion. With her temptations I have tired more than I have tired her. Forgive me for coming to you by mistake. It is God's will, there is no power in it, and the will of an Arab man, who does not carry the attributes of masculinity except his gender.